Hi. When we think of camera manufacturers, we somehow automatically think of Nikon and Canon and Olympus, and sometimes we forget about Minolta. Minolta was huge in the 80s and 90s, especially in the American market. And today I'm going to talk about this camera. This is known as the Maxxum 5 in the States. In Europe it was known as the Dynax 5, and in China it had the name of the Alpha 5. It's what I would call a late single lens reflex camera. On picking it up, it is a very light body. You load a film by pressing the button at the bottom here. The construction is mainly plastic, but it is a reinforced plastic and it seems quite strong. This camera I think came out in 2003 and was made until about 2005. So it is a late single lens reflex camera. Simply load, as I said, by putting in the film in and leader over. It has a positive on-off switch here. A very nice LED screen here, and on the LED screen by it you have a P for program. You simply press and that's the bog standard program, green for program, but you've got these nice creative modes of portrait, landscape, close-up and sport and nighttime, and you simply get there by pressing the portrait mode button there. For more adjustments you have this button here at the front. You have spot metering, you have automatic focusing, and on the other selection we have the selection of aperture priority, shutter priority, manual, and you simply press the function and then the button here to select those. Very nice that we have bracketing. Now bracketing is extremely good if you aren't sure about your exposure and want to try several, because in bracketing the camera will automatically take 3 or 5, however you may program photographs at different exposures. This is a very nice feature. It's a very good way of getting through film, but it's still a nice feature. You have continuous focusing or single shot focusing, so when you've got the button down you can either program it to automatically or take one at the focus stop, or if you are moving the camera and you've got it on continuous, it will continually change the focusing. We've got manually setting IIS if you wish to. It has got DX coding, that is automatically coding to the film speed, but if you have cassettes without the DX coding, you can use that very easily on this camera, and that's quite a nice function, I think. You also have something called the custom function, where you can custom all sorts of things, like you can custom the camera so it doesn't wind the leader all the way back at the end. We've got a bit of a gimmick here, but it works very well, I found, which is eye start. So if you set that to on, when you bring it up to your eye, the camera automatically comes on. And you have a red eye function here as well, and you can turn the beep on and off. It has a built-in flash. Unfortunately on this particular model I found the flash didn't work, but everything else on this camera worked beautifully. It's a camera I hadn't used before, and I think I had always slightly looked down on, but on using the camera I was delighted with how it felt, how it performed. The photographs were extremely well exposed. The lens was nice and sharp. The lens on here is 28mm to 80mm, so it's a what I would call a standard a standard zoom lens. Being Minolta, there's a lot of other Minolta lenses you can use for this camera, and to be honest, the price second hand of a lot of these lenses is extremely reasonable. This camera I believe to be slightly undervalued, and you should be able to pick one up from £20 to £60, I would say, easily on eBay. I have had students use them in the past and occasionally had a couple of mechanical issues. As I said, the flash doesn't work on this particular model, but I have found, as I said, the camera to be very sharp, and I was very impressed with how it handled. It actually handled, it was a nicer camera to use than I expected. My conclusion is that it is quite an underrated camera. It had lots of features on, but it's not too gimmicky. If you find one, why not have a go with one? Bye for now.